We have a classic book. We have one of the best books of all time. I've read a lot of books in my days. I have listened to a lot of books in my days. No book has made me think about myself as an individual, such as Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I now have the paper book in front of me, and you don't have to buy it to hear it, to listen to it, to understand it, because we're going to read it through and through, even if it takes us 50 years. But this book is about my take on it. This book is about understanding how to do what you want to do, even if you don't know what you want to do. You read this book, you'll understand how to do what you want to do, even if you don't know what you want to do. Here we are. Forward, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Let's set this down. As you begin to read this book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, I feel as if I ought to issue you a warning. Don't read this book unless you are ready for your life to change. The principles that Hill in this book have been time-tested and have changed the lives of literally millions of people from all walks of life. I first discovered this book by reading a variety of personal finance and business books. It seemed as if Think and Grow Rich was mentioned over and over in most of those books. The authors would write, usually in an introduction, that Think and Grow Rich was a book that inspired them to pursue and attain their goals. It finally dawned on me. If Think and Grow Rich was the book that inspired these wealthy and influential people, maybe I should skip their books and read the book that inspired them. I bought a copy, read it, applied the principles in my life. I'm improved dramatically as a result. I went from a small job in heavy debt to a job I loved in financial security. I kept reading the book over and over, trying to find more ways. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. To apply the principles in my life. And along the way, this is a side note, there's punctuation and then it says and. I was taught in school that you're not supposed to start a sentence with and, but here we are. This is a forward in Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. One of the best books of all time. Here we go. I stumbled across an important thing about this book. Even though the title is Think and Grow Rich, the book is less about thinking and riches and more about growing. As you read, you may notice that most of the stories Hill shares are not so much about people trying to become rich as they are about people trying to pursue their passions, and in the process, they expanded their lives. In their expanded way of living and thinking, they automatically found their fortunes expanded as well. Better finances, health, relationships, and more happiness. These are some of the many outcomes that people describe upon actively using the ideas in this book. In addition to the 13 steps to riches that Hill writes about, there are 3 very valuable sections at the back of the book that I want to bring to your attention, all found in chapter 15, How to Outwit the 6 Ghosts of Fear. I know that sometimes readers will begin a book and then skip some of the areas at the end. Please don't do that with Think and Grow Rich. We won't. If you do, you'll be missing out on some of the most practical and important ideas that can have a positive impact on your life. First is a section in the chapter that describes the 6 basic fears. When I read that section first, I was amazed how accurate this information was and how true it was for me. Getting incredibly clear about fear and how it affects our lives is a powerful step towards going beyond the fears we experience. Second is what Hill calls the self-analysis test questions. This is a list of questions to ask yourself to see where you are in your journey toward freedom from mediocrity and into your own greatness. And third is an eye-opening section called 57, Famous Alibis by Old Man. If Hill was smart enough to know that many people will tell you all the reasons why they haven't found their riches yet and the barriers and obstacles why they haven't pursued their passion. And if you have any alibis, you will most likely find it in this list. Hill then notes, remember this philosophy presented in this book makes every one of those alibis obsolete. No more excuses. Now without fear and alibis to hold you back, there is no limitation to attaining your goals. A couple quick notes. The book was originally published in 1937, and the language in the book reflects that. At times, the words Hill uses are at best charmingly old-fashioned, or at worst terribly dated, but don't let that stop you. Read beyond the words to the principles he describes, and then apply those principles to your modern life. This book contains a complete original text with a few small changes to correct and update material for the reader. Second, Think and Grow Rich was published at a time when self-help books weren't as usual as they are now. These days, a self-help book would have a section, usually at the end of each chapter, with action terms or exercises that can prompt the reader into action. That wasn't as common for self-help books in the early 20th century. Therefore, as you read this book, and Hill mentions an action to take it. For example, when he instructs the reader to write something on a paper an inch high and place it where you will see it every night before you go to sleep and every morning before you go to work, then actually do it. Take as many actions that he mentions in ways that work for you as possible. Napoleon Hill was a clear and powerful writer. You'll find that he repeats ideas over and over, and I believe he did this within important purpose. As he repeats important ideas, we, the readers, will know how important they are. And in repetition, Hill is using one of the most powerful principles in the book, autosuggestion. Read through every word on every page. Underline words or sentences that inspire you. Use a highlighter on those sections you want to return to again and again. Write notes in the margins for further study and make this book your own. In other words, don't just read this book, study it, live it, make this book a guide for your life if you want. Doing so can help you from wishing for your dreams into making those dreams a reality. Let Hill's steps to riches inspire you to making positive actions and live the life you desire to aid you in your study. I've bolded some of Hill's main ideas throughout the text. I invite you to add your own highlights as well. Finally, this edition of Think and Grow Rich also includes a rare early article from Hill, first published over 100 years ago. It originally appeared in an industry magazine aptly named The Square Deal, and we're delighted to have rediscovered it for today's reader. They will serve to further inspire you and give you some ideas of how to live your best life. Isn't that what we're all trying to do? Live your best life in 2024 and beyond. If this is your first time reading Think and Grow Rich, enjoy it and allow these ideas contained within to motivate you to great new heights. And if you're reading this book for a second, third, or even 10th time, try to find something new that you can be inspired by In either case, I wish you great success, joy, and riches. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Think and Grow Rich. I was going to read every single piece, but publisher's preface. It's 3 a.m. This book conveys the experiences of more than 500 men of great wealth We're going to start again. This book conveys the experiences of more than 500 men of great wealth who began at scratch with nothing to give in turn for riches except for thoughts, ideas, and organized plans. Here, you have the entire philosophy of money making, just as it was organized from the actual achievements of the most successful men known to the American people during the past 50 years. It describes what to do, also how to do it. It presents complete instructions on how to sell your personal services. It provides you with a perfect system of self-analysis that will readily disclose what has been standing between you and the big money in the past. It describes a famous Andrew Carnegie formula of personal achievement by which he accumulated hundreds of millions of dollars for himself and made no fewer than a score of millionaires of men to whom he taught his secret. Perhaps you do not need all that is to be found in the book. No one of the 500 men for whose experiences it was written did, but you may need one idea, plan, or suggestion to start you towards your goal. Somewhere in the book you will find this needed stimulus. The book was inspired by Andrew Carnegie after he had made his millions and retired. It was written by the man to whom Carnegie disclosed the astounding secret of his riches, the same man to whom the 500 wealthy men revealed the source of their riches. In this volume will be found the 13 principles of money making essential to every person who accumulates sufficient money to guarantee financial independence. It is estimated that research which went into the preparation before the book was written or could be written, research covering more than 25 years of continuous effort, could not be duplicated at a cost of less than $100,000. Moreover, the knowledge contained in the book never can be duplicated at any cost for the reason that more than half of 500 men who supplied the information it brings have passed on. Riches cannot always be measured in money. Money and material things are essential for freedom of body and mind, but there are some who feel that the greatest of all riches can be evaluated only in terms of lasting friendships, harmonious family relationships, sympathy and understanding between business associates, and introspective harmony which brings one peace of mind measurable only in spiritual values. All who read, understand, and apply this philosophy will be better prepared to attract and enjoy these higher estates, which always have been and always will be denied to all except those who are ready for them. Be prepared, therefore, when you expose yourself to the influence of this philosophy, to experience a changed life, which may help you not only to negotiate your way through life with harmony and understanding, but also to prepare you for the accumulation of riches in abundance. The publisher. I guess this is the author's preface. We just read a note or something. This is the author's preface. But what I want to say so far is you really got to dissect all these points. Riches is not just money. Riches is a lot more things than that. In every chapter of this book, mention has been made of the money-making secret, which has made fortunes for more than 500 exceedingly wealthy men whom I have carefully analyzed over a long period of years. The secret was brought to my attention by Andrew Carnegie more than a quarter of a century ago. The canny, lovable old Scotsman carelessly tossed it into my mind when I was but a boy. Then he sat back in his chair with a merry twinkle in his eyes and watched carefully to see if I had brains enough to understand the full significance of what he had said to me. When he saw that I had grasped the idea, he asked if I would be willing to spend 20 years or more preparing myself to take it to the world, to men and women who, without the secret, might go through life as failures. I said I would, and with Mr. Carnegie's cooperation, I have kept my promise. This book contains a secret. After having been put to a practical test by thousands of people in almost every walk of life, it was Mr. Carnegie's idea that the magic formula, which gave him a stupendous fortune, ought to be placed within the reach of people who do not have time to investigate how men made money. And it was his hope that I might test and demonstrate the soundness of the formula through the experience of men and women in every calling. He believed the formula should be taught in all public schools and colleges, and expressed the opinion that if it were properly taught, it would so revolutionize the entire educational system that the time spent in school could be reduced to less than half. His experience with Charles M. Schwab and other young men of Mr. Schwab's type convinced Mr. Carnegie that much of that which is taught in the schools is of no value whatsoever in connection with the business of earning a living or accumulating riches. He had arrived at this decision because he had taken into his business one young man after another, many of them but with little schooling, and by coaching them in the use of this formula developed in them rare leadership. Moreover, his coaching made fortunes for every one of them who followed his instructions. In the chapter on faith, you will read the astounding story of the organization of the giant United States Steel Corporation as it was conceived and carried out by one of the young men through whom Mr. Carnegie proved that his formula will work for all those who are ready for it. This single application of the secret by that young man, Charles M. Schwab, made him a huge fortune in both money and opportunity. Roughly speaking, this particular application of the formula was worth $600 million. These facts, and they are facts, well known to almost everyone who knew Mr. Carnegie, give you a fair idea of what the reading of this book may bring to you, provided you know what it is you want. Even before it had undergone 20 years of practical testing, the secret was passed on to more than 100,000 men and women who had used it for their personal benefit, as Mr. Carnegie planned that they should. Some had made fortunes with it. Others had used it successfully in creating harmony in their homes. A clergyman used it so effectively that it brought him an income of upward of $75,000 a year. Arthur Nash, a Cincinnati tailor, used his near-bankrupt business as a guinea pig on which to test the formula. The business came to life and made a fortune for its owners. It is still thriving. Although Mr. Nash has gone, the experiment was so unique that newspapers and magazines gave it more than $1 million worth of laudatory publicity. The secret that was passed on to Stuart Austin Weir of Dallas, Texas. He was ready for it, so ready that he gave up his profession and studied law. Did he succeed? That story is told too. I gave the secret to Jennings Randolph the day he graduated from college, and he used it so successfully that he is now serving his third term as a member of Congress with an excellent opportunity to keep on using it until it carries him to the White House. While serving as advertising manager of the LaSalle Extension University, it was little more than a name. When it was little more than a name, I had the privilege of seeing J.G. Chaplin, president of the university, use the formula so effectively that he has since made the LaSalle one of the great extension schools of the country. The secret to which I refer has been mentioned to no fewer than 100 times throughout this book. It has not been directly named, for it seems to work more successfully when it is merely uncovered and left in sight, for those who are ready and searching for it may pick it up. That is why Mr. Carnegie tossed it to me so quietly without giving me its specific name. If you are ready to put it to use, you will recognize this secret at least once in every chapter. I wish I might feel privileged to tell you how you know if you are ready, but that would deprive you of much of the benefit you will receive when you make the discovery in your own way. While this book was being written, my own son, who was then finishing the last year of his college work, picked up the manuscript of Chapter 2, read it, and discovered the secret for himself. He used the information so effectively that he went directly into a responsible position at a beginning salary greater than the average man ever earns. His story has been briefly described in Chapter 2. When you read it, perhaps you will dismiss any feeling you may have had at the beginning of the book that it promised too much. And if you have ever been discouraged, if you have ever had difficulties to surmount, which took the very soul out of you, if you have ever tried and failed, if you were ever handicapped by illness or physical affliction, this story of my son's discovery and use of the Carnegie formula may prove to be an oasis in the desert of lost hope for which may you have been searching. This secret was extensively used by President Woodrow Wilson during the World War. It was passed on to every soldier who fought in the war, carefully wrapped in the training received before going on to the front. President Wilson told me that it was a strong factor in raising the funds needed for the war. More than 20 years ago, Manuel Quezon, then resident commissioner of the Philippine Islands, I think that's Colonel Manuel L. Quezon, was inspired by the secret to gain freedom for his people. He has gained freedom for the Philippines, and it was the first president of the Free State. A particular thing about this secret is that those who acquire it and find themselves literally swept onto success with it, but with little effort, and they never again submit to failure. If you doubt this, study the names of those who have used it, whether they have been mentioned. Check the records for yourself and be convinced. There's no such thing as something for nothing. The secret to which I refer cannot be had without a price, although the price is far less than its value. It cannot be had at any price by those who are not intentionally searching for it. It cannot be given away. It cannot be purchased for money, for the reason that it comes in two parts. One part is already in possession of those who are ready for it. The secret serves equally well all those who are ready for it. Education has nothing to do with it. Long before I was born, the secret had found its way into the possession of Thomas A. Edison, and he used it so intelligently that he became the world's leading inventor. Although he had been only had but 3 months of schooling, the secret was passed on to a business associate of Mr. Edison. He used it so effectively. Although he was then only making $12,000 a year, he accumulated a great fortune and retired from active business while still a young man. You may find his story at the beginning of the first chapter. It should convince you that riches are not yet beyond your reach. They can still be what you wish to be. That money, fame, recognition, and happiness can all be had by you. No. That money, fame, recognition, and happiness can all be had who are ready and determined to have those blessings. How do I know these things? You should have the answer before you finish this book. You may find it in the very first chapter or on your last page. While I was performing the 20-year task of research, which I had undertaken at Mr. Carnegie's request, I analyzed hundreds of well-known men, many of whom admitted they had accumulated their vast fortunes through the aid of the Carnegie secret. Among these men were Henry Ford, William Wrigley Jr., John Wanamaker, James J. Hill, George S. Parker, E. M. Statler, Henry L. Dougherty, Cyrus H. K. Curtis, George Eastman, Dr. Frank Gonzalez, King Gillette. There's a lot of people here, okay? All these people, these names represent these names represent these names represent but a small fraction of the hundreds, Lucius Fletcher, hundreds of well-known Americans whose achievements financially and otherwise prove that those who understand and apply the Carnegie secret reach high stations in life. I have never known anyone who was inspired to use the secret who did not achieve noteworthy success in his chosen calling. I have never known any person to distinguish himself or to accumulate riches of any consequence without possession of the secret. From these two facts, I draw the conclusion that the secret is more important as a part of the knowledge essential for self-determination than any one which one receives through what is popularly known as education. What is education anyway? This has been answered in full detail. As far as schooling is concerned, many of these men had very little. John Wanamaker once told me that what little schooling he had, he acquired in very much the same manner as a modern locomotive takes on water, by scooping it up as it runs. Henry Ford never reached high school, let alone college. I'm not attempting to minimize the value of schooling, but I am trying to express my earnest belief that those who master and apply the secret will reach high stations, accumulate riches, and bargain with life on their own terms, even if their schooling has been meager. Somewhere as you read, the secret to which I refer will jump from the page and stand boldly before you if you are ready for it. When it appears, you will recognize it. Whether you receive the sign in the first or the last chapter, stop for a moment when it presents itself and turn down a glass, for the occasion will mark the most important turning point of your life. We pass now to chapter 1 and onto the story of my very dear friend who has generously acknowledged been having seen the mystic sign and whose business achievements are evidence enough that he turned down a glass. As you read his history and the others, remember that they deal with the important problems of life, such as all men experience. The problems arising from one's endeavor to earn a living, to find hope, courage, contentment, and peace of mind, to accumulate riches, and to enjoy freedom of body and spirit. Remember, too, as you go through the book, that it deals with facts and not with fiction, its purpose being to convey a great universal truth through which all who are ready may learn not only what to do, but also how to do it, and receive as well the needed stimulus to make a start. As a final word of preparation before you begin the first chapter, may I offer one brief suggestion which may provide a clue by which the Carnegie secret may be recognized. It is this: all achievement, all earned riches have their beginning in an idea. If you are ready for the secret, you already possess one half to it. Therefore, you will readily recognize the other half the moment it reaches your mind. That is all the way up to the introduction of Think and Grow Rich. That's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna stream again tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, one person, for watching. I owe you guys 2 push-ups. I appreciate you guys for watching. This has been a great reading so far. I love this book. Think and Grow Rich, because the first time I got to listen to it, I was working a job that I had never done before, and I was doing a lot of walking. And I just had the opportunity to think about a lot of stuff. And I really was able to think about myself as a different kind of separate person away from everybody else when I was first listening to this book. So hopefully when I read this book to you guys, hopefully when you listen to this book, you can understand more about not just who you are, but what could be you. Because that's what life is all about, is making who you are, not just accepting the status quo, not just accepting what's around you, but being who you want to be, making the canvas your reality. Because you have the canvas for a reason, you might as well use it to be exactly what you want to be. Once again, I appreciate you guys. I got 2 push-ups. I'm going to do them now. And I'm going to read the comments. Let's see. Emily asked, what was I reading? I was reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This is what I was reading, Emily, if you're still here. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. One of the best books of all time. You know how it done, too, says, I look like their coworker. Wes says, great book. Read Richest Man in Babylon. All right, I have not read that. Sean Hammer says he used to smoke PCP with me back in the day. What's up, fool? I've never smoked PCP before. Robert Lugo says, if you smell what the rock is cooking. Okay. Jessica Andrew said, hello. 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 It's me. It's a simulation, said Angel Dust. Waterloo Bear says Trump 2024. Don't worry about that, says Nee. Grr. Slow Jammin' James says Trump. No Glaze says please, dead. West said Trump will make America grow rich. No Laser said oil up. Don't worry about that, said we're gonna build a wall. Don't worry about that, said oh God, oil up, papa. No Laser said fucking rolling. Don't worry about that, said that's it, grab the whip. Hey boy, I'm talking to you. Show some respect. West said. Mr. Stellan said hi. What are you reading? Mr. Stellan, I was reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. West said, keep getting it, brother. I see great success in your future. Blessings. Thank you. CJ Christ. Fuck. CJW Christ said, Jesus Christ loves you. All he died for you to be. Forgiven of your sins, seek him for truth, is what they said. Joe Cox said, who taught you how to read? That might be illegal. Well, that was a good reading. You know, we live in a world where it's more popular to act out than it is to be profound. I know you're slouching. I know I'm slouching. Do some lower back extensions. Go on and stretch that lower back. Go ahead. Plug that nose and blow. All right, I got these 2 push-ups now. It's been a good reading. 2 push-ups for all the likes that I've gotten. Man, it's 3:54 in the morning. I know you heard those cracks. That's 1 push-up, even though you can't see. That's another push-up. For all those 2 likes I got. Oh, I'm about to sit on the wrong thing. Well, let me tell you guys something. You gotta push beyond your limit, man. I know a lot of people today, it's so popular just to do what you want to do. Like, I don't even have a tripod because I lost it literally today. And I could have made any excuse. Oh, Lucius, it's 4 in the morning. Oh, Lucius, you got a couple shifts that you want to work today. Oh, but you also want to do this. But listen, no excuse is going to build you up as a person. Anybody can make any sort of excuse. Anybody can make any sort of reason why you can't make something happen if you really want it to happen. But only a real G, only a real person that can exert real power, a real powerful individual, a person that has fought for their right to live the life they want to live, is going to be able to do what they really want to do no matter what people say about what they're trying to do. Nobody should be able to really stop you in what you're trying to do, whether that's lose the weight that you're trying to lose, whether that's get the money you're trying to get, whether that's anything. Joe Cox says he was going to give me a like. Then he hesitated when he saw I only got 2 likes. Seemed pointless. Yeah, things seem pointless if you look at them without believing in yourself or believing in your effect to change something. I was thinking about this today. I was thinking about how the debate happened. I didn't watch it, but I was thinking about, if people really believe or don't believe that their 1 vote really does count to make their person that they want to win the presidency win or lose. Now, obviously, that's a lot different than just you liking or disliking a video or a stream that I'm on. But me, I'm going to post anyway, I'm going to read this book anyway. So even if you do give me a like or don't give me a like, it's all about what you like and what you believe in, what you want to support, what you want to see achievement in. it's not necessarily does it have a point or not. If I was chasing individual likes, I wouldn't be here reading this book. But I appreciate your honesty. I think it's an interesting topic to think about. You know, why is it that people do what they do? I have the attitude that I don't think anything negative about whatever I'm doing. And maybe this seems dumbed down to you, but I have a lot of excuses that I could give you. And I just think that it's important to know what matters to you. So if I'm not resonating with you, if what I'm saying doesn't matter to you, then maybe this video or this stream is not for you. But I think a lot of people, like this book describes, a lot of people face the same things. Everybody has the same issues roughly. Everybody has the same things they enjoy roughly. So instead of hating on your fellow man, it's always good to bring it up your fellow man, because to someone else, that fellow man, you are another fellow man. And the better you see things around you, the better you're more inclined to be. So if you make a change by how you treat people, you're more inclined to see a better change in the world. That's why it's good to be good to people, because if you're good to people, they're more likely to be good in general. And good people do good things in a good world. But if you're not going along with that, then you are bringing down the world. You're just making things worse. And I think that'll reflect around you, but there's also a point in your life where you can be around people that are negative, and it doesn't have to hurt you. It doesn't have to mean that it's over for you just because it's over for those people. Listen, it's better to be broke than broken. If you're a broken person, you're never going to be like worth anything to anybody, because it starts with yourself. If if you aren't worth anything to yourself, you can't you can't expect to be worth anything to anybody. Think about that. I think a lot of people spend a lot of time and a lot of energy focusing on anything and everything outside of themselves. They spend a lot of time and energy trying to change themselves with clothes, with surgery, with makeup, with accessories, but not a lot of people are trying to reveal themselves to themselves. Not a lot of people are trying to be real with themselves. Not a lot of people are trying to connect with who they are deep inside inherently, just because it's always about how can I compare myself to you, and how can we all feel good about each other. Let's just all come back to reality. Joe Cox said, am I going to vote? Am I going to vote? I don't know if I'm going to vote, Joe Cox. Aren't I telling you that it's pointless? Matthew Hafner asked if I just smoke weed. No, I did not just smoke weed. It's 4 a.m. Matthew Hafner. But no, There's so many different ways that you can stay focused on you, because everybody, if you care about living well, you need to live in a good body, and that good body, obviously, it needs a good diet. Obviously, it needs to be strained. If you have an engine and it just sits there, if you just have a PC and it just sits there, if you have a phone and it just sits there, it's not going to be used. It's like it's just pointless. Eventually, through time, it's going to degrade, essentially, no matter what it is. So you have to take your body and you have to make that thing try, because that's the only way to make it grow. You could do it a myriad of ways. But besides just trying, to me, your diet is the most important part. If you don't have a diet, you don't have a baseline for how you're supposed to even feel. Once you get a diet, once you get some sort of regimen that you expend yourself physically, listen, this can even be walking outside. Just to start out, you can even just walk outside to start getting your body right, but you need to always ramp it up. You can't stay at the same point. Okay? I pray you don't get complacent. I pray you don't settle down. I pray you don't be good with how things are just going and you're just fine with life as it is and you're not going to get any better. I hope that you believe in yourself. I hope that you know that life is only over when you give up, when you choose to stop going. And there are so many different things that you can do that you just haven't dedicated yourself to fully. I find that I want to do a lot of things personally, but I, in the past had bullshitted around about it. I would make excuses about it. But me, I would think about it and I beat myself up in my head about it. So I realized that I got to stop doing that and actually follow through on the stuff that I'm talking to myself about, because I just can't stand to continue on in life knowing that I've essentially at that point wasted the time of, making these plans and having these desires and writing all this stuff down and thinking about all this stuff and doing all this research for stuff that I want, but then I'm just going to baby out and not do the stuff I need to do to get there. No, we got to be accountable. And motivation is not a real thing. We're just dedicated to the outcome, and to be dedicated to the outcome, we got to be dedicated to the work to get to the results, okay? So I write down this stuff to keep notes, to keep track of things that stood out to me in a presentation that I had listened to, and I dated it. It was 9/9/2024. My goal was to write every day. And we probably will be writing every day now that we are, reading. Probably we're going to stream every day, but either way, in this world, you got to ask yourself, what are you thankful for? What am I thankful for? I'm thankful for my ability to exert effort. Okay? Today we're entering a new age, right? We're discovering the capability of things. So many things are changing in the world right now. No matter how you look at it, there's a lot always happening in the world. There's a lot of innovation always happening. Name me a place in the world where things are just dead. Where people are. It doesn't exist because people essentially are life, guys. If you're alive right now, be thankful, because really, it's like you got God inside of you. You didn't choose to make yourself. You just woke up here one day. One day. Inherently, guys, listen. Inherently, Inherently, we place little to no value on what is given to us for nothing, okay? So, your parents, you may not value them like you should, all right? The house you're living in, you probably don't take care of it like you should. Your baby mama, you probably don't do her right like you should. The things around, listen, how do you want to upgrade if you already don't even take care of the stuff that you got? It's impossible for the world to give you that. You can't have a Ferrari. You don't know how to do an oil change on a Honda. I mean, you can, right? But if you knew how to do an oil change, I feel like you'd be more capable to get a Ferrari if you didn't have the money for a Ferrari to start, because at least you're capable enough to figure out how to do something as simple as an oil change, right? Yeah, no, that fucking bug. Oh my god. You have to discover the capability of your focus and your exertion. Realize how hard can you focus on something? How hard can you exert yourself on a task? What can you push yourself to do? How do you feel when you get that thing done? Did you think that you were capable of that thing? If you're not living life year to year and there's drastic new things, changes, you're like, wow, life is good. You need a change in your life. You deserve more in this world than to just live a stagnant life or a life that's tumultuous, okay? You don't need to stay there. You have the ability to grow. Realize the power of your mind. Realize where you've been. Realize what you've done, where you've been. Realize all the things that you've had, all the people around you, all the different places you were at in life. Realize how far you've come from all those different points. And realize that your life was made all at that time by what you were thinking about. Your thoughts put you in all those scenarios. So realize that anything that you think about is going to grow. So you got to protect your mind. You got to stay focused. You got to, like I said, realize what you can make happen. It's actually crazy because it's like you're materializing something right in front of you. Like you have a thought, and if you can put enough focus on things in life to it, it's like you're like, oh, I want a house, right? Let's just say, people want a house nowadays, and they say, okay, well, they go throughout their life. Oh, I'm going to get a house by going to school, by getting a job, by doing this, by doing that. So basically what I'm saying is throughout time, they didn't just like snap it right there, but with their thoughts and their actions through time, they make the house right there. But it started in their mind first. If they didn't start it in their mind, they would never get that thing that they wanted. But you have to want something. You have to want something out of life. And that's why I think it's good to see all the options that you can. Look at all the different possibilities around you, because you don't get a chance to view things forever. You got to take a chance and jump sometimes. You have to be present, because what you think about is what you become. So in order to realize what you're becoming, you need to realize what's going on in the real moment. So you can't be too focused on anything in the past, the present, or the future. You have to be able to rein yourself in like a cowboy, right? Like you're your own captain, like you're your own horse, You need to love enough of yourself to hold yourself accountable. You have to have a plan. You have to be able to knock it out. You have to be able to change. If you stay the same, I reckon it's just fading away. It's like, Thanos, Spider-Man, dissolving action. Learn to stay focused. You can't be spread out and still make an impact, okay? Think about how a projectile works. Think about how a rocket or a cannonball or a paintball or a bowling ball or anything with force. Think about how a car moves. And when it hits something, it has an impact point. That one point is where all the force is for the most part. For the most part. I mean, of course, if you get hit by a car, it's not just that one first hit that's going to be damaging. Of course, it's all of it. But what I'm saying is, if you're spread out, the impact that you have at the power that you do exert is going to be less. You need to learn and really focus on exerting power and mapping how that went for you. You can't just try stuff and move on and try stuff and move on and try stuff and move on. You need to really map it out and graph it out mentally, real term in front of you, real life, how things are going. Because if you're just living life doing what you want to do, once again, I mean, that may be good for somebody, but I think that you're going to wake up and you're going to realize it's not a life worth living eventually one day. I mean, for me at least. Maybe I'm just a loser. Your energy is limited, okay? And it's always a theory how you're thinking, right? You need to ask for other people's opinion because your theory could be disproven, and not just disproven, blown out of the water and save you so much time. You may have an idea, which may be a great idea, right? But if you just ask somebody else, hey, what do you think about this, they may tell you something that would completely change your idea because it's so much better than yours. They're not going to charge you for it. Just ask people. Be open enough, be calm enough, be man or woman enough, be human enough, be courageous enough. And it's not like, well, I'm courageous, I'm talking to these people. I'm so about my business that I care all about talking to them about this business, not about the social stuff that people want to buy into about it, because all that stuff doesn't really matter when you really focus on your life, guys. All that social BS drama, fake garbage, all that stuff is fake, especially once you just focus on your life and just be who you want to be, guys. Day by day, you write your own destiny. Think and enterprise. This has been Lucius Dane Fletcher, and you just got mentally sanitized because that was Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich up to the first chapter. We're probably going to stream again later today. It's 4:15 in the morning, coming at you from Wheaton, Illinois. I appreciate you all for watching. I appreciate you all for commenting and liking the video, subscribing. I want you to remember that you don't have to stay the same person that you were yesterday. You can always upgrade any day. It doesn't take something drastic to happen. You don't need a wake-up call. You are your own alarm bell. You are your own coach. You are not a person to be managed. You are a person that decides how you live. You are more powerful than what you think. Too many people don't believe in themselves enough to change. Too many people don't even think that change is worth investing in. They're too happy with the present. But guys, there's a whole world out there of amazing people, amazing things that you can see and do and experience and all this kind of stuff. So don't just be happy wherever you are working with whatever type of people you have around you. Yes, enjoy life as it is, but always be able to seek more because you are not who you have around you. You are not your bank account. You are not your job. You are not your YouTube channel. You are not all this, whatever you might look at yourself as, guys. You are not that thing. Away from social media, guys, you are a person too. Think about that. Away from social media, I'm a person too. And that means that, like I said, we all go through the same sort of thing. We all got to eat. We all got to drink. So just take it easy on your fellow man, okay? Because some people need it. And I've seen that. I've realized that. I've noticed that. But it's good to see and notice and feel and understand that some people will put out and some people do care. Maybe make that you today and bring somebody hope today, but make it come back to you in some kind of way. Lucius Dane out. I got to do one more push-up for you, and once I do this push-up, I'm out of here. I always do a push-up for every single like that I get on stream. Right now we're at 3 likes. It's been great, guys. I appreciate you so much. One more push-up, and we're out of here. Oh, man. There we go. All right, it was great, guys. Peace out. Thank you for all the love. Subscribe. Love.